everyone. Yes, thank you so much for joining. This is yet another wonderful time to be here, and I'm really excited as always to just come around and do this. So this series is all about
Excited as always.
now feedback. Sorry for that. So now this series is really all about building financial capacity. And I know that a lot of times we're really like overwhelmed with all the hype of social media, about people who are making money online or, people who are doing a lot of things, right? And sometimes building financial capacity can just get over your head, whereby you feel like it requires a whole lot and it's difficult to even get by, right? So that's one of the reasons why I decided to do this, to just show you how, like, everyday people, right, who are navigating their careers, who started small businesses or big businesses, are able to build capacity with time. So you can see everyday people, and it's not just all the whole social media hype, but you can see people who are able to break it down for you and show you how they were able to build financial capacity. So that's the goal. So if you're here, thank you so much for stopping by. I have a wonderful guest here. Her name is Tevi Tupper, and she's going to be sharing her journey with us. Um, if you are yet to subscribe, I would love you to please subscribe. And then also drop a comment just to let us know what your journey has been trying to build financial capacity, or maybe you're trying to maybe transition into a new career or you're in a new country. Just share with us what your journey has been. That would be great to read, and probably we may have feedback for you. So Femi Kope, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Just a brief background of Femi Kope.
Okay, so everyone, I really appreciate Adiza for this invite. My name is Dr. As she mentioned. I am a Nigerian, as you can predict. I am a Christian. I finished from University of Ibadan, where I studied geology. I also proceeded to doing my second degree in Wrocław University of Science and Technology in Poland, and I'm from Ogun State. Maybe
Great. Yeah, I know she's trying to be a little bit simple, which is good. Yeah, but I thank you so much for coming. I'm really happy to have you. This was something we've been planning for a while now, so I'm really grateful that you're able to just create time out of your schedule. Today is even a working day to come out and just share your story, because I know that there are so many things that people are going to learn from your story. One of the reasons why I said I need to bring you was the fact that I looked at your background. I just saw the fact that you seem to be like someone that was is just eager for knowledge and eager for growth, and you put in the effort, you put in the work, and you kept on transitioning in your career just to grow. And there are lots of people that when it comes to them just moving from point A to point B, it's like they struggle. They feel like it's an uphill task. How am I going to do it? And then they get discouraged. When you're able to see just and any everyday person who is able to navigate their career, and they are able to grow and build financial capacity, you are inspired. So that's one of the reasons why I said, okay, I needed to come here and just share your story. So, but can you tell us about your background? What was your upbringing like, and how did it shape your mindset towards your education, financial independence? Because you also graduated with the first class, and that's like the highest level, and then you were also the best graduating student of your set. That's excellence, right? So what was it like, your upbringing? How did that inspire you to achieve all this?
okay. So what my upbringing actually looks like. I was a little girl that was growing up at Meta in Lagos. For people who are very familiar with Ebute Meta, is like I'll take it in quotes as the hood that people say, the low level area where
Mm,
you grew up. I wouldn't say my family was average. My dad is a teacher. My mom,
mm,
was a petty trader. She was also a hairdresser. So it wasn't, I didn't come from a fancy background that you would have thought that, oh, for her to get to where she is today is because, she had all the support she wanted and all the, I
mm.
attended a public school like every other person, that kind of school where rain will fall on you guys in the class.
Oh my goodness.
Really
Wow.
They had to shift to the middle of the class to keep learning. I started my primary school when I was 4 and a half. Remember, I was very young, but of course, I was also brilliant. Teacher daughter, first daughter. I was my parents' first child. So I was going through life this way, but it wasn't even an average Nigeria can feed, morning, afternoon, conveniently kind of family. It wasn't. It was kind of struggling childhood, to be honest. And this is how, I grew up. And how has that really shaped my mindset? You know, that as going through a lot of things and facing a lot of things just put you in a point where you know that there is no problem or issue that is insurmountable. So it's like when you face difficulty, you just know you've been through things, you are able to get to where you are today. So if you can't get to where you are today, it means that you can get to where you're thinking in your mind of something, a dream that is big. To some other people will be like, no, I can't achieve it. No, I tell myself, if I can get from that point A as that little girl growing up to this point I am today, it means that I can get to wherever point and that is what has shaped my mind.
Wow, wow. I love it. I remember the guest I had last week too. When he told me about his background, I was like, what? Like, you just sometimes you just see people, right? And you just think everything was maybe they had it all well, and that's why she was able to read and navigate life. But people have been through a lot, and it's quite impressive just to know where you're coming from. Great, great. So what motivated you to pursue geology? Like I was just thinking about it. And then achieve first class honor. Oh my goodness, the best graduating student. So what
Okay,
were your
so
motivations?
yeah, there are so many backstory. At some point I had spoken to several people that I feel like I might end up writing my own autobiography, and this is because I have
Mm,
so many backstory to how I've got to this point. So the backstory to geology was this: I got into Polytechnic when I was 17. Moshood Abiola Polytechnic in Abeokuta. So I got into the poly. I did my best. I graduated with an upper class. And I left poly at around 19 thereabouts. I
okay,
was
and I'll just clarify for people in other countries. A polytechnic in Nigeria is just like I would say an institution where you get like an associate degree. So with an associate degree, you can now further go and get like a bachelor's, and all that. So that's just what a polytechnic is. It gives you that I would say step up. But there are other people that can still continue in that institution and then go to the highest level where they get what we call like a higher ed degree. But it's still not I wouldn't say it's at par with a bachelor's degree in a university. They still consider it a bit lower, so that's why most people will get that associate degree and then go and further and get a bachelor's in the university. So go ahead. I have to clarify.
I feel like I was jumping so many things, and thank you for clarifying.
No, that's fine.
I went to poly, I finished, and at some point my parents were not together, so I was living with my mom. My mom was selling stuff. I was also helping her. I'll fry meat, fish, and sell. In a show glass, a
Mm,
small one. And while doing that, we had these flatmates that we're living with. Myself and my mom had this flatmate. And one of the days, our elder brother came to the house. And this is my story of how I ended up in geology. So, the other brother came to the house. We spoke. And at that point in my life, I would like to tell you that I never thought I would ever go back to school. It was that bad. Yes, I couldn't afford it myself. And of course, I have the support I needed. So I had already canceled school. I didn't know what is going to happen in my life. So, we were in the flat and then we spoke. And the guy was like, "You're very smart. You're intelligent." By the way, I was just 19. So he was like, "What do you plan to study?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know if I would go back to the university, but I'd like to study biochemistry." That's what I told him. Like, "Yeah, I'll just
interesting.
there is no prospect for biochemistry. Why don't you study?" He at that point was a senior geologist at MPDC in Benin. So it was like, you should study geology. I'm like, yeah, I think it sounds cool, but I don't think I'll go back to school. And then he paid for my jam to write my jam exam. And that is how I ended up. He ended up being my mentor till date. And that's how I found myself in geology. Never heard of it before
Wow.
that day.
Wow. 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 Awesome. It's just interesting how God orders our step. I know we're talking about building financial capacity, but then we cannot take the place of God in our lives, how He orders our steps, how He orchestrates these things to happen for us. And then actually, the first class honor and then the best graduating student. I just want to get just a little like how did you get to that? Because you're someone that even gave up. You gave up going
Yeah,
to college.
yeah.
You
I
gave up.
between when I finished from this place where I got the associate degree OND to when I got to university was 3 years gap. 3 years gap at home, and this was when I started working with the bank. I got an internship first, and then returned back to the bank as a contract staff, where I was saving up money so that I can go back to school. So, I had to put money together to send myself back to school. Now, at that point, even at the point where I was returning to school, I had an offer to still be in the bank, but be in the bank in Ibadan. And, I had my university degree in Ibadan, University of Ibadan. So I had the offer, but in my mind, I had something bigger. So I told myself, I was going to be the best I could be in the university, and at that age, I was already going into the university as a 22 years old, 21/22, thereabout. Unlike typical Nigerian university, you have 16 years, 17 years coming into the university. So I was like, you know what? I'll just give my all. I would look away from the money. The bank was paying well as at the time. It was 2012. The bank was paying way over 60K. So I was like, just look away from the money, pursue what you could get. So getting a first class was either that for me, because I left so many things. I could have seen
Right.
temporary, pleasure, whatever, temporary gain, but I had to leave it to strain myself and then be in the university too.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. As I look at you, I can just, you're just starting in, you're just starting because I can see someone who has a powerful soft skill, delayed gratification. It's not a skill people talk about, but that's a powerful soft skill where you're like, I can look away from just this money that I will earn, but it's gonna distract me from just being the best. Awesome. I'm even inspired by that. Yeah. So another thing I would ask, I know it, finances wasn't just it for you, for your family, right? How did you manage it as a student? The challenges of even funding your education. I know you got ordered yourself, you found someone who even paid, right? But I'm sure you didn't pay your school fee. Like, how was it like?
It was tough. It was difficult. I would say when it comes to difficulty level, if I say 1 to 10, with 10 being the most difficult and then one be less difficult, I'll go with 10. It was
Oh
very
my
difficult.
goodness.
So my first year in the university, like I said previously, I had to work to save up to go to the university. So while going to the university was me with my school fee, with the little food I could gather from home. Then
Mm.
I was in the University of Ibadan. I skipped my own matriculation because I was still working. I was still working to get the last part of the money so I can make it to school. So by the time I got to school, it was almost like, they've done like several tests and everybody was like, you're in this class? I'm like, yes, I'm in this class. But I was looking for money. There was nobody to pay. Many of my classmates don't know this about me. They just know I was in the class, I was doing well. There are days I'll go to school.
Mhm.
A few of them that were very close to me knew about it, and I'll still have to read. There are days I'll take water. In days, like maybe 3 days, I don't have anything. Like not even rice. Just put white rice in the pot and just scrabble and eat. No, I didn't have. It was until my third year that this person who paid for my exam, and as at that time, my first class wasn't even starting with a first class. I started with a 2-1 and then got into a first class after my second year, which was almost practically impossible in geology, University of Ibadan. It was practically impossible. So it was difficult for me. I didn't have it. I don't have days where I would say I needed a textbook, somebody needs to buy it for me. I got my first laptop in my final year to write my project. And it was like through people gifting me money thereabouts to be able to put it together and get myself an HP laptop, very heavy laptop back in the days. And yes, it was difficult. There are days some of my classmates would be like, you know what, let's just go to law and get snacks. None of them would know that I've been on hunger strike before that snack. And yes, it was really tough. I, I wouldn't even sugar.
Wow, wow, wow. Inspiring, inspire. And despite it, you had your eyes focused on the goal. I love it, love it, love it, love it. This is beautiful. This is
Like
beautiful.
the fact that um education for me, and this is with the help of God. Uh, I wouldn't even take the place of God out of this. I would talk about, most times I tell people I pray more than I read when I was in the university. And that's true. I spend several hours praying than reading because it helps me not to read just anything. It helps me to have a focused way of reading. And I also tell people that education for me, for other people, it might just be something I need to tick off and go. But education for me was my way out of poverty. Knowledge, education,
Mm.
because I'm still, learning every day. And so for me, it was my own way out of poverty. So I held on to it.
And I want to even say something. Education generally is one's way out of poverty. Like both the education you get in the four wall of the school and the education you get outside. Like there's so many things, and I say this a lot. Like even concerning, because I talk to a lot of people about their finances and all that, right? And I say it a lot that there's so much information out there that you can get and help. It will help you better your finances, it will help you build your career, it will help you build your business, it will help you. But the challenge a lot of times is seeking that knowledge, and that's why the few who are able to just focus and just streamline towards the goal they want to achieve and just start absorbing knowledge, they always excel like this. So I love the fact that you said that education for you was just foundational. Yeah, great. So let's move forward from the whole bachelor side. I also know that you also got a Polish government scholarship. So that's another thing I want us to talk about. Like, how did you, because I know many people will come here later and watch this video. Probably you're going to share it with some of the people in your circle. I share with some of the young people in my circle. Also, and many other people that are seeing this. Please, if you're watching, subscribe if you're yet to subscribe, and then share. I say this a lot, right? You can't really tell what will motivate someone to take that step that will change their lives. Sometimes it may, and especially the world we live in where you have information scattered everywhere, people are listening to so many things, but you can't really tell that information that will make someone who is in a particular point take a step and move from point A to point B. So I'm encouraging you, share it. Okay, yes. So let's go back to the Polish government scholarship. How did you navigate that? Many people may be seeking similar opportunities and they just want to know how were you able to secure that?
Okay, so during our time in 2016, so immediately I finished university, I was serving in Port Harcourt. I was still in camp when one of my professors reached out to me in River State that there is an opportunity, and then the opportunity closes in 24 hours. Now, this is that I'd say this with all sense of acknowledgement that it is a miracle. So people have applied for the scholarship before myself. My professor reached out to me and said, you know what? Where are you? I'm like, I'm in the camp. I'm not with laptop. I'm not with anything. And it was like, I have a scholarship closing in 24 hours. Can you meet up? Like, I can meet up. And one thing is, I don't personally like to give up until you reach the end, no matter what. And why I do this a lot is to remove the sense of guilt that, you know what, I did my best, it just didn't work. Instead of saying, but you didn't put your best, you just left it. And so when he told me, I said I was going to try. I had an habit of saving all of my soft copy documents on my, email and all of that. I had this guy who finished 3 years before me. We were friends in the university. I told him to please help me prepare like a thesis, whatever, like overview, short description, a page. I submitted everything that night. There was no internet. It was really bad. Camp out. I had to go to Mami Market, stayed with a guy just to beg him to, help me transfer those documents. They put it together. Somebody printed it in Abuja and then submitted it to the embassy. And as at that point, it was hard copy submit. It wasn't online. They have to submit it by paper, take it into the embassy. What we And eventually, a lot of people had applied before me. People who even know people in ministry. I didn't know anybody. Other than the fact that my professor was walking on the walkway, met another lecturer who knew about the scholarship. They exchanged words. My professor reached out to me, and that was it. When I submitted, the scholarship board picked 4 people from, the multitude of people who applied as at the time. I was one of those. So I was the only Yoruba person that applied for that got the scholarship. It looked like ethnic based as at the time, because it has 2 people from the south and 1 person from north central. But now the scholarship is really good now, because they are choosing 20, 40 people per year sometimes. The name of the scholarship is called NABA Scholarship. It's a Polish government scholarship. They usually look at grade also, and what you have to write when it comes to what you plan to do in your thesis, whether it's innovative and the rest. And then, usually it comes out around March or April, thereabout. You mean the following September of the year.
Wow, wow. It's just inspiring, the fact that you got the information last minute, and despite the fact that it was last minute, you were able to put in all the effort to get it. But now I'm glad you said it's online. Probably there are people that may want to do that. So maybe after the interview, we could drop some information in the description. If you want to do it, or you want to send this to someone else who may need this, they would have that access. Wow, wow. Yes, so I know that Poland, they also have their language, and that would have been another, I would say, challenge for you, right? So how were you able to adapt to this new culture? And then what are some of the lessons you learned just trying to learn the language and adapt?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm perfect in the language as of
Okay.
now, but one thing I held on to was open. And also, the scholarship afford us the part of having to learn the language. So when we came in, we were asked to learn at least a year. So every day we go to class for 4 hours to learn the language. I learned it for 1 year and a half. And then I chose a master's that was in Polish language, which was very difficult. I did my master's in Polish language. I did mining biology in Polish. I wrote almost all my exams. I had just 6 papers that were in English. Then other than that, every single exam was in Polish language. I had to do some presentation in Polish language. It was so
Oh my goodness! For just a short period of time. Wow, your brain is good. I'll just get I'll feel everything.
again. So it's either a yes or a yes when it comes to some decision in life. Because for us,
Mm,
if you don't pass the language school, you go back to your country. Is one of the criteria. Yeah. And I don't want to go back. So
I know, I know. Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Wow,
I
wow, wow, wow.
we did mathematics within this 1 year and a half in Polish and all of that. So it was easier. And I think when you're open-minded to the people, it makes it easy. I see
Mm,
this, I would say, just as a caveat, I see a lot of foreigners come into the country. First, they hate the language, they don't believe they can speak it. And second, they don't want to rapport with the people. They're always it's racist. If you are that close-minded to the people and to the culture, there is every tendency you're not, you won't be able to, understand it with them.
I generally that's even life generally. I realized that when you're open-minded, it's easier for you to learn a lot. I remember last year I decided to go for a master's in financial technology, and I was telling when we said the whole coding Java, the first lecture I told my husband, I don't think I'm gonna do this. This is just complex. I just they're just this is just something that was over my head. What am I doing here? But then I had to open my mind, and I remember that few weeks into the classes, I was like, I can do this. And there's even AI, right? So I can do this. I understand the concepts. I was like, all you need is to understand the concept, how these things work together, all the rules. So I agree with you. Being open-minded helps us better to navigate challenges. Yes, and then another great thing I was just thinking about also your transition into tech. How did you went to geology? First of all, you learned Poland. I know your story. Your story is kind of interesting. You learned Poland. You had to do your masters in Polish language, and then you now transitioned to technology. Like what inspired that? I call it a significant career shift because you look at geology. What happened?
So the story of my transition did not happen when the transition happened. It was happening in the background before the transition. So when I got to
Mm,
Poland, I already know, I got my first job in Poland in 2017. This was like 7 months after I got 8 months thereabout. I got my first job. I was working as a cleaner, and afterwards, I was doing some packaging work in a medical facility where we pack plasters and the rest. And after that, my first organization was working as a customer support specialist. So, the software as a service startup, all Polish company. It was good. I was the only black in the company. It was welcoming, yeah, family, because it's a small company. So I was working there as customer support. Afterwards, I work in their business growth, which was not very, I mean, no offense to people who love this field. They are not just something that resonates with me. So I was looking for more. I was always looking for more. I was looking for more. And immediately I left. No, I was there when I was on my maternity leave, when I was pregnant. I was on my maternity. And that's where the journey started. The journey started in my maternity leave, where I started learning about IT stuff, about coding, all those things. Little by little, they were difficult. Some I'll leave them away, some I'll run to them back, and the rest. And at that point, also during my maternity leave, I was freelancing on the side. So somehow I'm a professional. So there's this platform that I freelance on that I've earned quite a lot on. I just freelance as a PA, chat support, chat assistant, and the rest. So I was learning IT on the side, and I was trying to be a data analyst at the point when I started. But eventually, my first job into the IT world was something closer to cybersecurity. Cybersecurity was never in my view at first, but immediately I got the first role. That was February to Palo Alto. I started to think about cybersecurity, started to learn things about it, started to write certification. Now, that's how I transitioned.
wow.
Not as simple as I said. There's so many things, that I would, take away from myself just to concentrate. Sometimes I even delete all my social platform just to put myself into a place where I have to really learn. And it's paid off, because what I was earning when I was in non-tech position was totally different from what I was earning as a tech specialist. And it gets better, because once you get into tech, you just don't go back. Most people don't go back. Because you there, honest, but the capacity and power is also there.
True, true. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. And it takes a lot of discipline, to focus and decide to just okay, this is the path. Yeah. Interestingly, I also transitioned to I was actually in financial services in Nigeria, came here, financial services, and I was like, I don't think this is what I want to do too. I had to just prayerfully transition to technology. Interestingly, when I came here, my elder brother, who is a software engineer, was like, transition into tech now. Go to cloud computing. He gave me so many I said, no, I don't want to do that. I'm a people person. I want to engage more with people, and because that's what I've done. but I never knew that, okay, there are areas in tech that you still have the opportunity to engage with people, you still be your people person, believe in more people and engage. I was just closed-minded. That's it. And that's why it's important to be open-minded. And another thing I love about you, you're open to pivoting. Like, you're very sensitive. And that's another thing that I think a lot of people forget a lot. I Because I see a lot of people trying to transition. I see them around me, people that I know, people, and that's why this interview is so important. I pray a lot of them get the opportunity to watch it. People, they are trying to do a lot of things, right? But they are not very open-minded to the opportunities. Because for you, one thing I can sense is that you're sensitive. That, okay, there's an opportunity here because I'm doing something that relates to this. What is that opportunity? What can I get out of this career? And that's one thing I feel that everybody, you may be looking at us right now, and let's say you're thinking of what to do. Maybe you're thinking of either you want to transition your career, or you want to even start a business or something, but you're doubting, you're not sure. I'll tell you, take the leap of faith, right? And go start something, start researching is even something very big, because a lot of times you're researching for one thing and then you discover something, and then you start going deeper into that one thing you discover. Let me give you an example. I remember that initially when I started this whole I wanted to transition. I was bored of financial services. I just realized long term, because I always like to look at things long term. What's my pathway here? So I looked at the pathway in the bank I was working at, and I was like, I don't think this pathway interests me. Though I was still at the mid level in the career, but I was already looking at how it's going to end. That's my personality. So, and I said, I don't think this will interest me. I don't think this will give me fulfillment long term. And then I started to research, started to pray about it, think about it, and all that. And then the direction I was looking at, because I thought I was a people person, was project or product management. And then I said to myself, okay, then let me go get a PMP. It's a very, very important certification. But while I was working on getting PMP and praying about it, I stumbled on Scrum and decided, it interests me too. And I was like, I like this. And I'm going to stop my story there. One day I'll tell you guys my story in full. But the point is that I was looking for something and I was researching, right? And I was reading about it, and then I found another thing. So I found another gem in a bigger gem. So the point is, don't sit down and just be thinking. Take a step and start doing your research. While doing your research, you'll be surprised what you will find. Yes, I said so much. And this is supposed to be about you, Tokwe.
So
Let me know.
I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't thinking security. I have friends in cybersecurity, but never once have I told them, you know what, I'm looking into cyber. So they are all aware I was looking into data analysis. I'd learned all the SQL. I was doing interviews places like Revolut, learning Alteryx. People who know about data analysis know this. But I mean, my first breakthrough into the IT world was in cybersecurity. Why not? So
Wow.
my
Wow.
very important, because some people are very fixed on, no, I want to be a cloud security person, and it's not coming. Once you enter you could find your way, instead of staying fixed that it must be this way, or nothing.
Yes, and I know that's another very important thing you just said. I know a few people who I would say that they got, right. They got a particular, let's say they learned a particular skill, and because they learned that skill, or maybe they got a master's degree in a particular skill role, or they got something, right. And all they are fixated that they want to get a manager. For example, you got a PMP certification, and then because you know that you got PMP and you're a project manager, all you want is, I must get a role that I'm a manager. And well, this conversation, I just hope people are going to listen to this. All you need a lot of times is to get your feet at the door in many organizations. If you can get your feet at the door, you're going to get the manager role. Yes, you may have found one or two people that after they got their PMP, they just got that big role. Yes, there are a few people, but don't wait for that. Any other opportunity that comes in that same industry, take it up. as long as it aligns with your goals and it still gives you that pathway towards achieving what you want to achieve, take it up. But people will wait for that manager role and then they will stay waiting for a long time and then later they will tell you, I don't know if this Scrum Master pathway is even a good one because I've not gotten that job. I don't know if this if I think I wasted my money getting PMP, or I think I wasted my money getting this master's degree or this MBA. I hear that a lot. But get that entry level role or that's lower level that may not really be what you're thinking, or you're comparing yourself with someone else, and just get your feet at the door in that organization and see what happens. One day I need to talk about my own transition journey because people yeah, but it's fine, it's good. Yeah. So the other thing I was also thinking about was how you landed your first tech role. But I think that you said a lot about it, so I don't want to dig into that. Another question I think is coming into my spirit right now is that, okay, what are some of the lessons you learned like in your journey, trying to get financial independence? I know financial independence is a journey. It's I'll call it a lifetime journey. You will continue to grow things. Even for people that will tell you that I retired at 50. Yes, they retired at 50, but that doesn't mean that their financial journey stops at 50. They retired, whatever, but then they keep building, their financial capacity, they keep building investment in different places, right? So for you, looking at how far you've come, because you've really come far from where you started from. It's a journey, right? What's all the things you've learned about financial independence, what people can do? Yeah, what's some of your lessons? Yeah, I think that's what I.
I mean, maybe the question is very broad, but
Oh, okay. You can
uh,
streamline it. Yeah.
but one thing that I've learned is that you don't have to let whatever you are attempting at, maybe the failure of it, keep you down. That's one thing I also learned, as building my jelly and the rest. There was also a point, right, where I'm, abroad, when I gave birth, when I had nothing, with a born baby, or maternity pay was small. I didn't have, all I had was my skill to make money. And before you know it, I started a platform, started free Canada, times where after breastfeeding, I'm supposed to sleep, I will be working in Canadian time. So, in all of the financial, one thing I would tell people is to gather all the skills that is needed. You see, one thing is that people can take a lot of things from you, and that's what people should understand. You can be stripped of whatever you have today, but you see your skill sets that you have acquired. Even if you go to the Bahamas, even go to the end of the world, you can use it to make money. So it's very important that your skill set stays with you. Even if you make a financial mistake and everything goes back to zero, you can still get back up because of what you did. So it's one thing that can.
I love that. This is just one thing. We don't need to go into other things. I think this is one take home for anyone listening to us today. Your skill set. Your skill set. It's powerful because no matter what happens with your skill set, you can do so much. Even skill set in business, you know, skill set in running a company, skill set in an organization. Your skill set is a power.
This a little bit to it so I can put context to it. Because sometimes it's easy. I'm not a motivational speaker, but it's easy when people are like, you can do this, and you don't give them practical life example how it
I
works.
love that.
And like I said, that I worked as a customer support person, so I know all of these tools when it comes to supporting customers and the rest. When I needed it the most, I was able to use it to freelance. And people be like, customer support, what are you freelancing on? Chat assistant, virtual assistant, what are you freelancing? And I can tell you for free that as a freelancer, I'd earned over $10,000 freelancing on a platform which I'm not even regular on. It's not like I go there every day. It's like a season of my life. And that's why skill set is very, very important. You can use it whenever you need it. Don't need it. That skill set, you can switch it off. So if you want me to be a customer support specialist for you today, I'll do it and excellently well. So now I'm cybersecurity. But it's a skill set stays with me. I can use it to earn money at any time when it's needed. Very important.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. And if you don't mind, if you want to also share the platform, this program, my goal here, like I say a lot of times, is just to help people, whereby people can come back here and see resources and hear stories that can help them move from point A to point B. Probably there's someone in another country who is even in a developing country or probably even in America looking, or in other, you'll be surprised that people in the Western countries that are also looking for a second job or looking for a second gig or looking for a side gig. So would share the link of some of those resources that Tope has used in the description, so you can go check out if they have anything that would be of benefit to you. Yeah, thank you so much for just even breaking down what a skill, and there are so many skill sets, right? You could even be someone who's good at planning projects, right? Or you could even be someone who's good at planning events. Yeah, thank you for really elaborating on that. Yes, you could even be someone who knows how to just structure things and make those things successful. Or you could even be someone who can code, right? So many things. Or you can manage data. And there's so many this it's
Oh,
a whole.
earn money. You'll be surprised on things that you actually earn money. People earn money with just doing voiceover. People
Yes,
earn money by just, writing a poem. It's
yes. It's
sometimes
it's a
I have, it's nothing. I cannot earn anything. You don't know where it's, I would say. So every skill set, you just have to find the right resource.
awesome, awesome. I love it. I love it. I wanted to ask you, right? Because it's possible that there are people that will come here later, right? Like, what advice would you give to someone looking to, let's say, transition into a new industry or even transition into tech, without formal background? Because I know that one of the things you said to me was that you actually taught yourself, right? But then, what advice would you give to someone looking to transition, looking, yeah.
Well, the first advice I'll give to them is to take away the past. That's not what tech is, because many people would say, once I get into tech, like, yeah, yeah. No, I would want them to put rather on the mindset of the fact that I won't give up. Some people are poor, I'd also do it. I'll take it one step at a time. I'll look for people in that field, and that's the number one thing I. If you want to go into cybersecurity, LinkedIn is full of people in. Ask them for help. There are times where I send, random messages to HR people on LinkedIn. Yes. I'm looking for a role and I know there are some recruiters. I'll send message. Many might not answer, but you have few who answer. So if you look for people that you're going into cybersecurity, reach out to them. Reach out to your friends circle also. There are people who have reached out. They're like, I want to go into cloud. Now, I'm not yet into cloud, but I have friends who are into cloud. I link them up. I ask them for help. Sometimes they're like, you know what, my hands are very full. No, this person is even if it's 1 hour every week you can spare, to explain things to them. So if you are going into a field, first thing, get people in the field to teach you, what to do, how to navigate it, how speedy you get to where you need to be. Some of them even went through this process slower kind of, but they can get there faster. Like for me, getting into tech was kind of slow because I was a nursing mom when I was doing it, but I know what to tell somebody who would like to go into tech for them to get there faster.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Asking for help. And interestingly, that's one of my secrets into getting, you know, yeah, yes, I got into tech. Yes, I got, like, I would call it up, I would say, a mid entry level role. But then while I was in, I knew I wanted to get into the next role as a Scrum Master, right? I networked with a lot of Scrum Masters, agile coaches. I started to have one-on-ones with a lot of them. They were coaching me. I had like different coaches. Like right now, I want to transition into another role. And I already have a lot of coaches, free coaches in my organizations that, I've networks, and then I schedule time in their calendar and they teach me one or two things. I also still have people that are not in my segments who are also coaching me in Scrum too. Because it's just, because the world is, there are lots of things coming up, new concepts, new different, additions to the framework, and you don't want to be left in the dark practicing old school.
I have a mentor who is a female who is in cybersecurity who have gone ahead. She has been manager in cybersecurity, managing different teams, and it doesn't end till we get to where we are going. So for me, it's like
Yes,
if my company
yes,
and I want to be there. Who maybe I there in the next 10, 15 years, who are the people I get close to get to that? So it doesn't end. Even by the time you get the tech role, you still need people to keep guiding.
yes. Yes, I agree. Well, this has really been a very rewarding session. I'm really enjoying myself because we're really just talking about real issues. So one thing I want to ask you, like, what are some of the common financial mistakes you've seen people make, and how can they avoid them?
And so from perspective of being a black person and being a
Yes.
of course a Nigerian. So from that perspective, while thinking about it, I felt that one of the mistake I'll tell people that are coming behind not to be a black person is the mistake of black. Now, we are all from where we believe very important. We uphold family values in Africa, and we want to help family, we want to help friends, and all of that. But one thing you should understand is you cannot solve the problem of the world. And when it comes to finances, if you don't pick yourself out first, you will end up drowning. That's how it works. So, say for example, I'm earning some kind of money. I'm not creating investment for myself. I don't have a savings for myself. I keep helping everybody, distance relative, people that are far off. Now, it's good to help, but you should be at a point where helping wouldn't drain you. But if you don't get to that point, if you're low here and you keep helping everybody, you probably will not be. And that is what makes black people make called it's a problem.
Wow. Wow. That's an interesting one. Black tax. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But yeah. No, interestingly, that's an interesting one. It's important that we actually plan and invest in ourselves. Just so because how do you help people when you're not even like the Bible says, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. I know we're not preaching, but love your neighbor. So it starts from you. So how do you it's like you're just gonna drown and you can't even help anybody anymore and then everybody's drowning, right? Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, so we've come to the end. But I want to ask you another very interesting question, right? Like if you would go back and give your younger self one piece of financial advice, or I would say career advice, what would that be?
One piece of career advice I was having.
Or financial? Okay, you can have both. Yeah, I like that. Let's have both.
Yeah. First, I think one piece of career advice I would give myself is to have a more structured career. Now, career ethic, which made me wasted several times on other things. So, customer support, procurement before I came into tech and all that. So if it was my younger self at 19, I'll probably have sat down with somebody who is more knowledgeable, define a career path, and just go through instead of
I love
wasting
that.
a period of time. By now, probably I'll have more than 10 years of experience in the same field, which makes a lot of difference in career life than, going zigzag, and, be forced
But
into
but I- but I would but I would say one thing to that before you talk about the financial. I've come to understand that ev- everything in life happens for a reason. There's a reason why you've navigated. You may not have 10 years of direct same career, but you have this rich background. And what I've come to understand is you don't know where God is really. I don't know why I always preach, but then you don't know where the plan is, God's plan is, right? But you may be a VP or an executive in a particular company, right? Whereby you have this oversight, and somehow those experiences will come into play for major decisions you will take. Or you may even start a business or be on a particular board of a particular company that has nothing to do with what your career is about, but you're a board board of director, they are part of the board, and then you have to make some decisions that you start pulling from experiences. So I've learned, right, that we are all on this path on earth, but our journeys are different. There are people that are meant to just be on that one narrow path. There are some of us that are meant to be in diverse paths. And God has given us the capacity to do it. And we're picking these experiences so we can actually function effectively. So I just wanted to use that as your answer, right? But then it is important as a young person to have a coach that would help you plan your career. That doesn't mean you're going to be follow that path, because but that would give you more direction. So I agree with you, and then I have that answer. But go ahead.
So when it comes to finances, I would I wouldn't direct it on money or finances, but I would say I would advise my younger self to be able to say no. No,
Mm,
like we mentioned initially about delayed gratification, to have a more delayed gratification, a lot more. To say no to something that will not fit you financially, and to also look in the line of investment.
mhm,
Investment is very important. I did some of it as a young person, but I would say that maybe I also did more. I got my first line when I was 19. So at that point, I didn't have somebody to mentor me that, you know what, you should do more of these things. It was just a
mhm,
random decision. And, at some point, there was a long break in between and all of that. But,
mhm,
get investment, because nope, I don't think anybody gets rich doing 9 to 5, to be honest. That's
mhm. Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. I agree. Yeah,
rent and all of that.
great, great, great. Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you. This has been a very rewarding time. Like I said in my first episode, I said I'm here to facilitate this interviews. Because as a facilitator, I'm learning myself. So it's been very rewarding, just chatting with you. Thank you so much for, just coming up and just sharing this wonderful experience of yours. It's quite, I just see you as someone, like there's so much ahead of you. I'm sure I'll bring you here, let's say if, in 5 years' time, probably this series may be on TV or maybe on other bigger platform, and you start telling me about some of the great exploits you're making in your industry. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just looking back from where you started from to where you are. Commendable, commendable, commendable. For any young person who, or even if you're in your 40s or you're even in your 50s. My guest last week said something that he was talking about a 60-year-old man that was trying to learn a particular skill, to build his financial capacity. So there's even no age limit. Whatever you want to achieve, you can start somewhere. We live in a world filled with resources. Like many people will say YouTube University, right? Because there's just so much resources on YouTube. Just type that topic, you see someone has spoken about it, right? So there's really no limits to what you can learn, what you can achieve. Take that step today. You too can build financial capacity, and it's a journey. So don't expect that it's just all gonna fall into your lap like the way you see when you go online and see all these videos, on YouTube and other social media platform. It's a journey, it's a step at a time, it is incremental, but it will happen for you. It will happen for you as long as you're willing to take the steps. So we will encourage you to take the steps today, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any last words as we round up today?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the invite, and like you said, taking the step, very important. And it's also good that this is a program that showcases real people, because a lot going on in the world right now, a lot of chaos. Come out and say, you know how to make your first million and all of that, blah blah blah, and then people are just like, well, I don't think that is practical. Practicable, or something like that. But showing real people who have gone through it and just give you that dose of energy that you need. We are human with flesh and blood.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Tokwe. Thank you, everyone. I don't have any questions, but you can still drop your questions in the comments. I will get back to it. If it's a question that Tokwe needs to answer, I will also reach out to her to answer the question. Then also, some of the, I think, two main resources that she talks about, I'll put them in the description at the end of this. Show. But thank you all so much. Thank you, Topper.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye. Oh, God, thank